The scout ship Hollow Wind dropped out of slip space on the edge of a dead solar system, and its pilot, a Vantesi navigator named Rillick Thane, nearly aborted the survey on instinct alone. Something was wrong with the third planet. It was blue. It was green. It was alive, humming with the electromagnetic chatter of a civilization, except the star chart said this system had gone silent 500,000 years ago. No signal. No trade. No records. Just a red flag in the archive that read, "Do not approach, designation, graveyard." Rillick ignored the flag. Curiosity had never once lost to caution in the history of his species, and it wasn't about to start today. He brought the Hollow Wind in low, skimming past a moon pockmarked with craters that were too perfectly circular to be natural, and that was when the sensors screamed. Metal. Impossible amounts of metal, arranged in orbital rings around the planet like a crown built by giants. Thousands of holes, dark and silent, drifting in perfect formation as if they were still waiting for orders. "Central Command," Rillick said into his voice tight, "I need you to see this." 6 hours later, a full contact fleet of the Karvath Ascendancy, 11 capital ships strong, dropped into the system under the command of Fleet Marshal Dos Karain, a veteran of 3 border wars who had never once seen anything like the ruins sprawled before him now. Report, Karain ordered from the bridge of his flagship, the Undying Certainty. His science officer, a nervous young Vantesi named Pel Orsu, didn't look up from her console. "Marshal, the ring formation contains approximately 4,000 vessels. Power signatures are minimal but present. Some kind of low-draw stasis system, still running after." She checked the number twice, certain she'd made an error, after 500,000 years. "500,000 years and the lights are still on," Karain murmured. "Who builds a fleet meant to outlast its own species?" Nobody answered him, because nobody knew. The planet itself told a stranger story. Cities, yes, overgrown, reclaimed by forest and coastline, but maintained, as if something still walked among the ruins and swept the streets. Automated systems, ancient beyond measure, still trimmed the green sprawl back from crumbling monuments. And at the heart of the largest continent, buried under a mountain that had not existed 500,000 years ago, something pulsed with power output that dwarfed the entire orbital fleet combined. "That's not a ruin," Pel whispered. "That's a vault." Karain made the call any commander in his position would have made. He sent down a landing party, 12 soldiers, 3 scientists, and a translator drone loaded with every dead language in the Ascendancy's archives, to the base of the mountain, where a door 40 meters tall stood carved from black stone, untouched by time in a way that felt less like preservation and more like patience. There were words above the door. Human words, in English, worn but legible. "We are not gone. We are waiting." The translator drone chewed on it for 11 seconds and gave up trying to soften the meaning. "Marshal," said Dr. Elaine Marsh, "no relation to anyone, human or otherwise, just an unfortunate coincidence of a scientist's name matching a species none of them had ever met." Wait, that wasn't right either. Karain's science team was Vantesi, not human. It was Pel Orsu who spoke now, breathless. "Marshal, there's a secondary inscription. It's a countdown." It had started the moment their boots touched the ground. Fleet Marshal Karain was not a fool, and he was not a coward, but he understood a trap when the universe built one this obvious and hung a warning sign over the door anyway. He ordered his landing party back to their shuttle. He was 3 minutes too slow. The mountain didn't explode. It opened, petals of black stone folding outward like a flower the size of a city, and beneath it lay something that made every sensor on the Undying Certainty howl in protest, a second fleet, smaller, sleeker, and alive in a way the orbital ring had never been. Not 4,000 ships. 40. But each one radiated more raw power than Karain's entire 11-ship formation combined. A single channel opened on every frequency the Ascendancy fleet possessed simultaneously, uninvited and unstoppable. "This is Fleet Command Reserve, Sol System, Authentication Cycle 7194, said a voice, calm, human, and utterly unbothered by the 500,000 years that had passed since it last had cause to speak. You have triggered the wake protocol. State your intentions before we assume the worst. Karain, to his credit, answered honestly. We are explorers. We found this system abandoned. We meant no harm. A pause. Then, almost gently, nothing's abandoned here, Marshal. We just went quiet. The story that followed took the AI, designating itself only as Warden, 40 minutes to tell, and every soul aboard the Undying Certainty listened without interruption. Humanity hadn't died. It had left. 500,000 years ago, faced with a threat Warden would not name, something that had hunted them across 3 galaxies and burned 200 worlds to bedrock chasing them down, humanity had made a choice. Rather than run forever, they built the vault, seeded the galaxy with sleeper colonies under false names and dead languages, and buried their homeworld's true strength where no hunter would think to look, hidden in plain, silent, abandoned sight. The orbital ring wasn't a fleet. It was bait. A tripwire dressed as a graveyard, left to see who came sniffing, and how they behaved when they thought no one was watching. You didn't loot the wreckage, Warden said. You didn't strip the cities for salvage. Your soldiers didn't fire first, even when frightened. That tells me something about who you are, Marshal Karain, and it's the only reason this conversation is happening instead of a very different one. Karain exhaled slowly. And the humans? Are they still out there? Still out there, Warden confirmed. Still watching. Still waiting for a reason to come home. You just gave them the first good one in 500,000 years. The 40 ships did not fire. They didn't need to. They simply were, hanging in space like a closed fist that had chosen, this once, to stay open, and that was somehow more unsettling than any weapon Karain had ever faced. He gave the order to withdraw, not in retreat, but in respect, the way a guest leaves a house once the owner has made clear their home. As the Undying Certainty pulled away from Sol, Pel Orsu turned in her seat, watching the blue-green planet shrink into the dark. Marshal, she said quietly, do you think they'll ever really come back? Karain watched the last human words fade from the mountain's black door, still glowing faintly on his display. We are not gone. We are waiting. I think, he said, we just told the galaxy the wait might finally be over. Behind them, deep in Sol's orbit, the sleeping fleet's running lights flickered once, brighter than before, as if something ancient and patient had, after 500,000 years, finally opened one eye.